in Windsor, Peggy and Dempsey Childers, the name you gave me when you kidnapped me from Buckingham Palace and brought me here in 41 to Northern Alabama. This is added to the last state number 2, live to die another day. I wanted to add I was working at the district attorney's office in Huntsville, Alabama, President. This is after April Fool Day of 80. They filled me full of antifreeze. Should have gone into a common diet and went for a tox screen, and rather than getting help, they tossed me from this place to that, locked up, across the state line where I passed a background check for the VA and went to work in 80. While I was there, they did role-playing in the office, staff did, of the 18-minute gap in the Watergate tapes. That was Alexander Haig, but who said he was in control at that time, but really, this is Henry Kissinger, who was Secretary of State or Defense, I can't remember which. He was on the tapes. Now that goes back to the early 70s, and Victor Gonzalez, doctor, cold-blooded killer, the one that had been at Parkland, when John Kennedy was brought there interning, and then in Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville, Alabama, child psychiatrist. He's a psychopath, so there you go, turned loose on the child. The other thing is that when my husband moved to Lockheed, Georgia, Marietta, in, I don't know, 67, Gonzalez had gone there too, like waiting for me. My husband turned me over to him, and for 7 years I was tortured in ways that's beyond belief. But in the early 70s, he was in Miami, and Petula Clark was there. She's British, the singer. He called her over to the table, and the next thing you knew, she had her throat cut. Now then, in the Watergate break-in, there's a Gonzalez. I don't know if they're related. I was told they were. Anyway, Gonzalez drugged me and took me to College Park, across Atlanta to College Park, Georgia suburb. And it's where the trolley tracks come together there, a bunch of them. And in 80, the little clinic was still there. But he drugged me, and I knew what was happening. I just couldn't do anything. He drugged me through the front door, and there was a waiting area with a few people there, and I thought, well, they helped me. But I couldn't even cry out, and they wouldn't help me anyway. This was a doctor carrying me to another doctor. They took me down to the hallway to the right, almost to the end of the building, and put me on the table. And there was a doctor with a phone in the back of my head, and Gonzalez on this side of me, leering at me, smiling, and I knew I could hear what they were saying. If the person on the phone, which is Henry Kissinger, didn't get his demands weren't met by my family or country, I don't know who paid the price that ransom that time, but that I would be lobotomized. Well, it was horrifying. I couldn't move, and I knew what was being said. So it came through, and I lived to die another day. So here I am in the DA's office, and I've been filled full April the 1st antifreeze. Should have gone into a common diet. It's been a living hell. I'll tell them the truth. New World Order kidnapped me. They have secret meetings now. They're in place. Obama, Elizabeth, the imposter that gave away the British, and her dad and George VI had kidnapped me with the Kennedys and Roosevelt, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, you name it. Now then somebody's coming up, so I don't want to say too much. Hear them talking, so it'll just bleed into this. I did want to say that I wrote the book about medical malpractice and how you can cure an illness, create it, or cure it. So you wouldn't need Obamacare, and you wouldn't need pharmaceuticals and drugs and new technology and You wouldn't need any of the stuff that you associate with mental health or being ill or sick. And the only thing that's changed in, like the Jerry Lewis telethon, where'd all that money go? Or you've got the Cancer Center in Memphis. What's what's happened to all the money and research that went in there? This grant's given to colleges, and they research, so they depend on it from the federal government. Center for Disease Control was the one in Atlanta that started AIDS. So somebody asked me, well, where would you go to be cured then? Because it's done through mind control and programming and imagery. It's almost like John Lennon. Imagine. Do you believe? So it's in place. It would be a different setup, but then there probably wouldn't be any illnesses because you could cure them. So really, if you stop and think about it, most things depend on your medical profession, your pharmaceuticals, your research, your advertisement with TV, the psychotic drugs, all of it. So you get the drift. I don't know how much further I can go right at the moment. I wanted to make this short and see if I could upload it. And I wanted to mention one here that was related that maybe you can follow in patterns. My husband would leave it. My people would pay for it, but he owned a company in the early 70s called National Fabric and on Interchange Drive in Atlanta. And a salesperson of his was on a plane to L.A. and he sat by goodness, Family Affair, Sebastian Cabot, British. You got Brian Keith and you got the twins, Buffy and Jody, and Buffy died of rare cancer or cancer. It was mind control that induced it. So I'm going to stop here. And Family Affair, part of my family were the ones that helped kidnap me and torture me and sold out to the Americans in the New World Order. So I'll leave it at that.